You're walking through the African savanna when you spot what looks like a tiny bulldozer pushing a ball that's 3 times its own size. No, you haven't stumbled into some miniature construction site. You've just witnessed one of nature's most dedicated athletes in action. Meet the dung beetle, a creature so committed to its craft that it literally moves mountains of manure for a living. Now, before you wrinkle your nose and scroll away, hear me out. These little guys are absolute powerhouses that would put Olympic weightlifters to shame. We're talking about insects that can pull objects over 100 times their own body weight. To put that in perspective, that's like you dragging 6 double-decker buses behind you while doing a handstand. The strongest human can barely deadlift 3 times their body weight, and here's a beetle casually outperforming us by several hundred times. But strength is just the beginning of this fascinating story. Dung beetles are actually cosmic navigators, and I'm not being dramatic here. Scientists discovered that these insects use the Milky Way galaxy as their GPS system. When rolling their precious dung balls across the landscape, they climb on top and perform what researchers call a dance, essentially taking a celestial snapshot to orient themselves. They're literally consulting the stars to make sure they're rolling in a straight line. Ancient sailors used stars to cross oceans, but dung beetles were doing celestial navigation millions of years before humans even existed. The precision is mind-blowing. These beetles can detect polarized light from the moon and use it for nighttime navigation. They're equipped with compound eyes that function like tiny astronomical instruments, processing light patterns that are completely invisible to us. It's as if each beetle carries its own personal planetarium in its head. Speaking of heads, let's talk about their rolling technique. You might think they just push these balls randomly, but there's serious engineering involved. Dung beetles roll backwards, using their hind legs to push while their front legs steer. This backwards locomotion isn't just quirky, it's biomechanically optimal. They maintain perfect balance and can navigate obstacles while keeping their precious cargo secure. Engineers have actually studied dung beetle locomotion to improve robotics design. Now, why are they so obsessed with dung in the first place? It's not just about finding a meal, though dung is surprisingly nutritious, containing partially digested plant matter, proteins, and essential minerals. For many species, that dung ball represents everything restaurant, nursery, and construction material all rolled into one. Female beetles lay their eggs inside carefully prepared dung balls, creating a protein-rich environment where their larvae can develop safely. It's like building a combination grocery store and maternity ward for their offspring. The variety in dung preferences is remarkable. Some beetles are connoisseurs, preferring elephant dung over zebra droppings. Others specialize in carnivore scat, while some are strictly vegetarian dung enthusiasts. There are over 7,000 species of dung beetles worldwide, and each has developed specific tastes and techniques. Some don't roll at all, they're called dwellers and tunnelers, creating elaborate underground chambers and bringing dung down piece by piece like tiny miners. The competition for quality dung is fierce. Picture a nature documentary scene: a fresh pile of elephant dung hits the ground, and within minutes, it's swarming with beetles. They fight over the choicest pieces, steal from each other, and engage in what can only be described as dung ball heists. Males will literally wrestle for control of a premium ball, while females evaluate potential mates partly based on their dung rolling prowess. It's like a combination of Iron Man competition and dating show, all centered around excrement. Here's where it gets really wild. Some species engage in satellite behavior. These are smaller males who can't compete physically with the big rollers, so they employ sneaky tactics. They'll follow a couple rolling their ball, wait for the perfect moment, then attempt to mate with the female while her partner is distracted. It's biological espionage, and these little spies have evolved specific strategies to avoid detection. The ecological impact of dung beetles is staggering. In areas where they've been eliminated by livestock medications or habitat destruction, the landscape literally changes. Dung accumulates instead of being recycled, flies and parasites multiply, and soil fertility plummets. Australia learned this the hard way when they realized their native beetles couldn't handle cattle dung efficiently. They had to import African dung beetles in the 1960s to prevent their pastures from being buried under accumulating cow pats. These beetles process enormous quantities of waste. A single elephant dropping can attract thousands of beetles, who will completely process it within days. Without them, our grasslands would be covered in a permanent layer of dung, creating breeding grounds for disease vectors and preventing new grass growth. They're essentially nature's sanitation department, working 24/7 to keep ecosystems clean and functional. The recycling efficiency is phenomenal. Dung beetles bury dung at depths where it enriches soil and provides slow-release fertilization. They're improving soil structure, increasing water retention, and reducing greenhouse gas emissions from surface decomposition. Some species create tunnels that aerate the soil, essentially providing free agricultural services worth billions of dollars annually to farmers worldwide. But perhaps the most endearing aspect of dung beetles is their dedication to family life. Many species are monogamous, with pairs working together to prepare elaborate underground nurseries. They'll spend weeks crafting perfect dung provisions for their young, shaping and conditioning the material with the care of master chefs. The parents often stay with their offspring, protecting and feeding them until they're ready to emerge as independent adults. Some species take parenting even further, producing what scientists call milk, a protein-rich secretion they feed to their developing larvae. These beetles have evolved complex social behaviors that rival those of supposedly more advanced insects. They communicate through chemical signals, coordinate their efforts, and even seem to mourn when separated from their partners. The next time you see a dung beetle industriously rolling its ball across your path, take a moment to appreciate what you're witnessing. This isn't just an insect going about its business, it's a cosmic navigator, an ecological engineer, a dedicated parent, and an athlete that puts human strength to shame. In their simple act of rolling dung, they're maintaining the delicate balance that keeps our planet's grasslands healthy and productive. These remarkable creatures remind us that some of nature's most important work happens at the smallest scales, performed by animals most people barely notice. They've been perfecting their craft for over 30 million years, long before humans appeared on the scene. While we're busy looking up at the stars and wondering about our place in the universe, dung beetles have been quietly using those same stars to navigate their essential mission of keeping our world clean, one dung ball at a time.